All right. Well, tonight we are talking about Charles Shaw and Trader Joe's. So, what I kind of want to start off with is Charles Shaw, the man of the hour. Uh, Now, he was an investment banker that went over to France and apparently decided that he just absolutely loved the like Beaujolais style of wine. Beaujolais style meaning it's got like a semi carbonic maceration, which means that the what they do is they pile all the grapes into a big vat, and just from the pressure of the grapes on top of the other grapes, they'll start to kind of bleed out a little bit, but mostly the fermentation is happening inside the grapes themselves, and there is absolutely no oxygen that happens, and it gives the wine this like weird sort of fruity bubblegummy flavor to them, which is what Beaujolais, whenever you think fruity and sort of bubblegummy, Beaujolais is it. So after that, he decided that he was going to start a winery in Napa in about 1974, and which is like excellent timing, because for those of you that have been to some of these other sessions about France, 1976, only 2 years after he bought this winery, is when the Judgment of Paris happens, which not only puts Napa on the international wine map, but really shines like a spotlight on it. And because of that, and everyone now wanting to buy and try Napa wines, he had actually built up a pretty good reputation for some high quality French style wines. Now, there's kind of a saying in the wine industry, which is when you starting a wine vineyard is a great way to turn a large pile of money into a smaller pile of money, but with a smile on your face. So when he divorced his wife in 1991, he couldn't really keep up production, well, because he'd lost about half of his funding, and later filed for bankruptcy. Now the name and the trademark Charles Shaw, and this it looks like a little gazebo. Those were bought by the Bronco Wine Company in 1995 in those bankruptcy proceedings. So that's where the story starts to take a weird turn. Is the Bronco Wine Company? So at this point, Charles Shaw is just 1995 or 1991, 1995. Charles Shaw, the guy, out of the picture. There's no more about his wine that is in this. So Bronco Wine Company, owned by Fred Franzia. Now, and his brother and another cousin. Now, Bronco, BRONCO, is a contraction of BRO in brothers, N for and then CO cousin. That's how you get Bronco. Now, Fred and his brother are nephews of Ernest Gallo. So you already kind of know the wine philosophy influence from the E&J, which is Ernest and Julio Gallo wine. Now, you also know Franzia, which is your low quality box wine Kool-Aid that got a lot of mothers through the 90s and the 2000s. Though don't let that influence you as to the to the portion and name of Franzia, because they were actually sold off to that. The name Franzia was sold off to Coca-Cola back in the 70s, and then to the Wine Group, which is the third largest producer of wine in the 80s. So they got the name, but they aren't the ones that are, were producing all of the white Zinfandel in a box. But Fred, he really wasn't the most honest of businessmen about wine. Most of the wine produced through the Bronco Wine Company comes from about 35,000 acres that the company owns out in Ceres, California. Ceres. Now, let me share my screen here. Now, Ceres as you can kind of see here, is this little dot. Let me zoom in a bit. Is way over here, southeast of Stockton. For those of you that know kind of Northern California, Stockton is kind of like, the crack den of California. And straight southeast of there is Ceres. And it's just this big, flat, open area. And it's comparatively to Napa, which is, way up here. There we go. Here's Napa, which is, pretty close to the coast. This is just dead in the, middle of just flat land. Actually, there's also Lodi is right up in here, because props to Lodi, but also another big flat area. But because of it being kind of really flat, really kind of hot, because it doesn't really have the coastal breeze to cool things down, it means that those grapes are going to grow like crazy, leading to wine grapes without a lot of structure or complexity. Now, here's kind of a little bit of a picture of the land or the vineyards that are out there in Ceres. Now, it's got a little bit of a rolling hill to it, but here's the thing that is really key to, seeing that this is a very mass production setup. And it's these really wide paths that are through the vineyards. And that's because it allows for machines to, and their tires to just kind of go right up on both sides of here. And that's harvesting, this lane of grapes. And you can harvest for way cheaper with a machine and way faster, comparatively to, having to hire a picking company to do that. The thing is that Fred and his team were trying to pass off these grapes as much more superior grapes from higher quality regions, and got caught by the feds for fraud, and had to step down as president of Bronco, pay hefty fine, and he couldn't be involved in grape purchasing for like 5 years in order to avoid jail time. Now, if that wasn't the end of the tricks for the Bronco Company, for much of the 90s, because the wine was bottled in a facility in Napa, which, that's the Charles Shaw, that's kind of the reason why they bought that. I think they actually bought the vineyard as well. But they take all these grapes from, kind of lower quality places, and they ship them up to get bottled in Napa, which what they were doing, but in the 90s, is they were putting, on the label, Napa wine. And people are like, this is, and so Napa and a couple of other places they lobbied California legislators to restrict or to tighten those label laws. And he actually had to sue California back in the 2000, or in 2000, and eventually lost. So he can't put, they can't put Napa on it, but if you actually turn, it says California on the front, but if you turn it around, it'll still say bottled in Napa on the back, in order to just still have the Napa name on it, which again, though, not the best of practices. Now, I mean, not everything about Bronco and the Charles Shaw brand is bad news, though. I mean, they have won gold awards for like their Chardonnay. I think it was back in 2007. So, I mean, they do, put a bit of work into it. And I mean, I think they do something like was it 65,000 gallons of wine. So, I mean, they produce a ton of it, and it's not the worst stuff out there. So don't let anything in this lecture, kind of sway you in any way, but just be aware that the name and the company behind it make those that are in the wine industry a touch skeptical. Yeah. So on that note, well, let's try these things out. All right. So now we're on to the actual wine portion. So we'll be going through the deductive process for our wines, which means we're going to be looking at the color characteristics in the legs. We'll be picking apart the aromas and then tasting to see if our noses match with our tongues. And then finally finding food pairings that go well with the wine. So our first one is going to be our Sauvignon Blanc.
You're bad at what?
You're supposed to be able to guess the alcohol from the legs.
Good old. Yeah, 2019. Hopefully everyone has the 2019.
At least on the whites, I have 2019.
Okay. Yeah. The other ones looks like a 2017 Cab and a 2016 Shiraz.
Yep, that's what I have.
Okay. So for those of you that are new, because we have quite a few new people. First thing, in order to look at the color, you'll need a piece of white paper, like a napkin or just a piece of white paper, and you're going to hold the glass at about a 45-degree angle. So it's got a little bit of a curve up along the side here, and you're going to hold that white underneath it. Hopefully you have some like natural light, and you're wanting to just kind of see what color we have. The reason for that is to kind of judge both the quality and possibly the age. But to me, I'm definitely getting just like a light straw color.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
With a bit of silver on the edge, which is pretty typical of a very new Sauvignon Blanc.
Yeah.
Did anyone have, I'm like I said, I'm hoping everyone has the 2019. If anyone has anything older, it might be a little bit more golden. So next thing on the site is to give it a little bit of a swirl, and then we're just going to watch the legs on this to kind of gather some insight as to, one, the alcohol content, two, sugar content, because both of those things will affect how thick those legs are as they're pulling down. And those are.
It smells like green apple, like Granny Smith apple.
Difference in the legs.
Huh. Okay. I don't know. Considering that I already know that this is, from a very hot region, I would not be surprised if this was like 13.5, 14%.
Sugar.
But
12.5.
Okay. Oh,
I have a quick question for you.
Sure.
During your demo or your presentation, you were mentioning about the label with Napa and all of that.
Uh-huh.
Is Charles Shaw using Napa grapes
No.
too?
No.
No, they're strictly in that little tiny Stockton area.
It very specifically says cellared and bottled, but not grown.
I know, yeah.
Yeah, and like I said, they have like a a bottling plant in Napa in order to have that, but
Oh.
So that's the cellar part where they can say it's cellared there and bottled, obviously, but okay. That's interesting.
But I don't think anyone, most of the people that are buying $3 wine, that they'll probably see the Napa on as a word, but not really understand that bottled and cellared versus actually grapes grown in Napa is a difference.
I think it's actually kind of offensive, but
yeah, but it's good marketing.
you get away with it.
All right, so let's give this thing a swirl and a sniff, and we'll see what we're catching on the nose here. Not that hard of a sniff.
Oh, really?
It makes the soup taste really, really fishy.
All right, what are people smelling on this?
Grapes.
I
Really subtle green apple.
yeah, sugar.
I get like a hibiscus type sweet and dry.
Smells like white grape juice with a hint of apple.
Yes.
Yes. It tastes like white grape juice that's gone a little bad.
Isn't that what wine is?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
Tastes that way.
to me, this doesn't really have like a distinct actually aroma to it.
No.
You guys are getting apple. I'm getting more on the citrus and tropical end. I can smell pineapple and even a little bit of melon. And then even on the back end, I'm actually getting a little bit of that green grass. But but again, that could be that other people are smelling green apple.
It's much
But I'm getting cut grass. But well, let's go for the taste on this. So first of the night, cheers, everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Yeah.
Ooh.
Ooh.
I might be the only one here that likes it. I think it's pleasant and it's light, and for $1.99, I'll take it.
Hmm.
Even though I don't like Sauvignon Blancs, I think most of the time it tastes like metal, and this one doesn't.
say that. I can smell.
See, maybe when I think Sauvignon Blanc, maybe it's just because I'm influenced by like New Zealand Sauv Blancs.
I don't usually like.
Is that like really green, like just hopping with pyrazine, so it tastes like grass, grapefruit, and green bell pepper.
Grape seeded,
But no, I mean, one, there is definitely some residual sugar in this. This is sweet, like this is what you would consider more like off dry.
Yeah, probably why.
Have it with a grape.
And there's absolutely no acid to this.
Yeah.
Which I think is where people are getting just white grape juice. But no, I was gonna say it almost tastes like they put a little bit of oak to this, because I thought I was getting vanilla. But let me try again.
I'm getting something weird I can't identify on the finish.
Is
I
it
just-
hydrogen peroxide?
Have you tasted hydrogen peroxide lately? I don't know.
Yes, actually, I have.
Oh boy.
No.
It
No,
kind
it's
of tastes
definitely
like pith, like the
Yeah, like
the
orange
white
pith?
bits of an
Yeah.
orange. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. Though now the more that I taste this, the more that I'm getting, just kind of like a really kind of tasteless stone fruit. So it's like a really unripe white nectarine. But
Make,
Like I said,
make
I-
angry out of it.
I'm hoping that our experiences will improve through these, or actually I think they'll just improve as we drink more wine.
Yes, probably.
But
Like anything that doesn't make first shift will make third shift in terms of like the drinking.
but yeah, no, at this point, if you've got any kind of nibbles, this is the part where you just start for sciencing pairings, for those of you that haven't really tried to do like a wine food interaction before. Usually the best way to kind of get like the most bang for your buck is to first take a sip of the wine to kind of prime your palate,
So much.
and then take your little bit of food and start chewing it around in your mouth. But before that final swallow, wash it down with another sip of wine, and you'll really get those flavor interactions, for good or bad. Like I've got some herb goat cheese that I've gotten from Trader Joe's, and I'm really worried about it with this. But
Yeah. I can tell you, I've tried 3 cheeses with it and it's awful.
but
I have
again,
garlic
fine.
buttered mashed potatoes that are pairing well. They're like kind of mellowing the harshness a bit.
Yeah, I can see that. Something, I don't know, equally as kind of bland.
Sweet.
Oh, I mean, I guess I can't really call this bland. It's just there's no subtlety to it. It's just like here's some weird fruit, bam, in your face, and
We have dried apricots that make it okay.
okay.
So a chocolate tart with
It's
raspberries.
a flourless chocolate cake, which is shockingly good with this. It's weird.
Flourless chocolate cake.
The sweetness of the cake really pairs with the
Now, well, how much sugar is in that chocolate cake?
Well, there's only half a cup of sugar in it, but there's 8 ounces of bittersweet chocolate in it.
Yeah. And so this almost kind of makes it a dessert wine for that particular dessert, because that's kind of the rule of thumb if you're going to pair a wine with dessert, is that you want your wine sweeter than your dessert.
It's not.
No?
Well, I don't know. It pairs really well. I don't know. We all agree, I think, right?
Yeah, I mean,
It
with the
tastes-
sweeter fruits, we have grapes, we have raspberries, blackberries, the dried apricots, and then the chocolate cake. So anything that was sweet seemed to help the wine.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It needs the
It
help.
does need the help.
Yeah, that actually wasn't that bad. With the herb goat cheese, I was really worried, but no, it really kind of.
I have a.
I mean, it definitely didn't bring out the goat. It just,
You want me to
I
grab
don't know, it just made everything kind of nice.
the chart is already pretty full.
And I'm actually, that's what I'm really kind of hoping for, is that a lot of this stuff, it isn't, this isn't meant for, just sipping, on the beach or near your pool. It's really meant to kind of go with, some of the other funky foods.
I thought it was nice with the pistachio also.
Pistachios with wine? I've never heard of that.
I haven't either, but it helps me to think of a pistachio.
Okay. Anyone else having some pretty good pairings out there?
Oh, yeah, I brought the right stuff. Yeah.
We had a pistachios that seemed to pair okay as well.
Pistachios. That's an interesting one.
I agree.
The, the the only thing that I've had, or actually I think it's just because it blew my mind, is I had pistachios with a Cabernet Sauvignon, and because of that kind of heavy oaking, it really brought out the vanilla, and so you actually had this like really just fantastic, like almost like cordial in your mouth, or like cherry vanilla that was going on, and I was like, okay, pistachios are a pretty good pairing for that. But again, you needed the you need something that was an oaked red in order to really, again, an American oak, so that you really have that like heavy vanilla impression to it.
The olive is okay? Even with the blue cheese?
I don't know, but like I said, considering that, I think this is, other than us actually having a dessert wine, this is probably one of the sweeter wines that we've had.
Yeah,
It's pretty good with the pistachio. I'm gonna have to agree with Rob there.
pistachios.
Do not eat it with fish.
No.
Let me do this with the Hello Kitty.
Not
Not a great one.
Goat cheese on a bagel.
Yeah.
Too bad, Chuck.
Toasted cheap chewy bagel.
Or the
Yeah, I mean, I'd buy it
So-
again.
Now, does everyone else have like a little, set of signs down at the bottom of their screen, like with yes, no, go slower, go faster? No. I thought when I enabled them for me, that it enabled them for everybody else. I was going to say that
Maybe.
what we could do.
There's like emoticons.
Like, smiley face.
I have them if I click on my little 3 dots to see more options.
Okay, because I was gonna say that might be a good way for us to kind of signal that
It said faster.
we're done with wine, or we're done with this wine to move on to the next.
Yes, let's do that.
or we could just vote.
Actually, like, click it, yeah.
Nay.
I have poured myself some Chardonnay.
Does anyone else? Well, I guess there we go.
So like we're just down the hatch with this one, and then we'll go to
yeah, if we're ready.
We are ready.
Okay.
tea.
Looks like everybody else is ready. So we ready for number 2, our Chardonnay.
Yes, it is yellow.
Let's see. 2019 California Chardonnay.
Central Valley.
I think this has more of a rim on that one. It's like a very clear rim, but it's much more pronounced than the last one.
All right. So again, give this thing a little bit of peek.
I can see it.
Now
There's-
it's still pretty light, comparatively, but compared to the last one, it's a little bit darker. It's starting to venture into more of the like light yellow, but it's still pretty clear / silver along the edge. But for a Chardonnay, this is, it looks really light, which,
12.5, and this is
what that also could signify comparatively to a lot of others is that where they're growing these, they're more than likely irrigating quite a bit.
This one didn't like for me at all.
And so, they're going to have like much just fatter,
much different.
water heavy grapes.
The second one is a gloss.
What part of that tasting, Richard, for you tells you that? I'm sorry I missed that part.
Say that again.
Your thought of it being possibly overwatered.
Yeah. Well, just because of the color of this, comparatively to most Chardonnays, which are kind of on a much more like heavy yellow to almost golden in their color, that this being much lighter, it's either got to be that this is like really young, or I mean not in terms of the wine, but in terms of like that they harvested the grapes young, or which is the more likely case, is that because it's such a hot area that they just flood it with irrigation, and they don't really, in fact they probably do it so that they have much more volume.
They do that in Arizona.
Yeah.
Near those wineries.
So let's give this thing a bit of a swirl and look at the legs. Now, those are pulling down pretty fast and thin.
Like,
Sorry.
yeah, grapefruit.
So I mean, I'd probably say that this is, I don't know, I almost want to put it in the same realm as the Sauv Blanc. So somewhere in that like 12 to 13%.
12.5.
12 and a half?
Yep.
Okay. All right. So let's give this thing a bit of a swirl, and let's huff some paint.
What did you say? What did you laugh?
Ooh, wow. This one is much more aromatic than the last one.
What are you getting into the nose? It's really complicated.
Yeah. That's awful.
Awful is a nice
I'm gonna
one.
say.
We agree with awful.
So they first said cat pee.
I got more of a.
I said pineapple and pear.
I'm definitely getting like pineapple and like more of like a yellow apple.
Let go up into.
Oh, like a golden delicious.
Yeah.
Delicious.
Now that's all I smell. I
I
might
think
be open to suggestions.
Really
Uh,
giving them flowers.
Anyone else getting anything off of this?
Green apple Jolly Ranchers.
Okay.
You're sold and delicious.
So we've got someone smelling green apple. But
Smell a lot.
I guess that kind of abomination.
Yes, the abomination part of it, not
Yeah.
not an actual green apple.
Yeah.
There's a difference. I don't want to, like the heathen that gets all their fruits and vegetables from cans.
The food scientist thoughts on what an apple should smell and taste like.
That's what this smells like to me. Food scientists dreaming of green apples.
All right. Well, let's give this thing a taste. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers. It's interesting how.
Worse was better.
Like green, almost like
And that's
Less bad.
It definitely doesn't have the lingering sugar that the Sauv Blanc did. All right. So what are people tasting on this one?
We're tasting more of a stainless steel grapefruit.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty awful.
And any other
I was thinking like pine needles, something.
pine needles?
Pine needle?
Interesting.
Maybe earthy.
Already talking about some.
Huh. Like me,
Like
I'm getting like lemon and a lot of that yellow apple with with this weird lingering like buttered popcorn finish.
Oh, God.
Some garlicky cheese.
I'm getting worse. I'm using this as an experiment.
It's like it's supposed to be creamy, but then it has this like weird kind of bittery
Yes,
part to it.
Yeah.
it is.
I mean, it's not as heavily oaked as I was expecting, but there is definitely, and it's probably with the last one as well, a fair amount of malolactic fermentation to get rid of any of the acid. But yeah, that's a 2 for 2. I don't know, in my opinion. I would, if you're comparing this to a $12 bottle of wine, I think I would rather have the $12 bottle of wine than 4 bottles of this.
I can see getting this one like super ice cold and like making it up in volume. Like if you were that kind of drinker, kind of like the Coors Light of wine.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
I agree.
though I could see that. Really, I could see this being used
I might
more
also. I don't drink
for either cooking or to become like really creative.
I know.
We're
What are we cooking with it?
Yeah, it reminded me because I don't know what kind of wine it is, but it reminded me of like being a kid and like sneaking my grandmother's cooking wine when nobody was looking.
Nationally world
But like that was not good wine.
like actual cooking wine or like sherry.
No, like actual like cooking wine that you should not be,
Oh, and they just put the cork back on it and like shoved it in the pantry.
That's right. That's what's happening to this bottle.
She had like a screw top bottle that was like.
But doesn't matter how oxidized it gets. Just
No, it's
get
for
it back out of the
cooking.
pantry and pour some more into whatever food you're cooking.
And it used to be like I'm 14, I'm slick,
I think it's perfectly suited for poaching salmon.
We'll use it up.
Oh, that's a nice.
For doing what? I thought I heard punching salmon.
Poaching.
Poaching.
If you drink $12 worth of this, you
You might punch some salmon.
Cook it.
That's funny.
Random question about the bottle. I noticed
Yeah.
that it's a different shape and it's slightly tinted, and I'm not used to seeing tinted on Chardonnay bottles that I've
yeah.
noticed before. Do you have any insight into why?
Well, I mean, the difference between the bottle shapes is the kind of slim that's a claret, and the kind of what I usually refer to as wide butt types.
Yeah.
Those are your Burgundy bottles. So that's mostly for like Shiraz, but I've seen a lot of Chardonnays that also use them. Which, as you kind of brought up the topic of bottles, that's also where they kind of skim some savings off as well. One, in terms of like the quality. I mean, I kind of wonder at just how many of these bottles break on transport, because they are very thin. I mean, like the bottles that I use for when I bottle my wines are probably about, I don't know, at least 50% thicker than these. They felt like, if they just cling together, they're just going to shatter. The other thing that you can kind of notice for quality, most quality wine bottles will have the little divot in the bottom, which is called your punt.
That's fine.
No.
These are
I
all
like
flat.
autographs.
It's completely flat. Well, so anyone finding any good pairings for this
Prosciutto
prosciutto? Okay.
and garlic cheese.
This one. It's roasted garlic and dried tomato.
Like just cheese with garlic, or is it on some bread?
It is a roasted garlic and sun-dried tomato cheese. And it's
Okay.
not
I can't imagine tomato.
Where'd you
not
get it?
super at Aldi's.
Oh yeah, it's the one at Aldi's. It's really good. We had it one other time. We
Oh,
didn't
they
Italian.
have okay cheese.
Mhm.
Oh, Aldi's has good cheese.
I was, actually now that there's an Aldi's here, I was, that was going to be a consideration at some point, depending on how many other people have an Aldi's around them, was to try some of theirs, just because that's another place that has even more awards that have been given to it for their wines comparatively to Charles Shaw.
It's a German grocery store. So go ahead. When I
It,
lived
it is literally, there's like
It's all
an
like
Aldi's
branded.
Nord and an Aldi's whatever. German.
Where's my phone?
Okay, so
Okay.
and they were brothers.
And again, the herb goat cheese really surprised me
So
with just how good it is with the Chard.
or vice versa.
But that so far that's been my impression of these, is that drinking them by themselves, they're terrible wines.
Because it's a little more cheap.
But as soon as you introduce food to them, all of a sudden they just become really good.
Yeah.
So that's why I think I've always avoided
Charles Shaw Chardonnay.
Oh, but they have so many other things.
really good stuff. Like,
They have
what
a
do
mixed
they have
nut
with-
butter,
They had
like peanut butter, but it's like mixed of all the nuts.
the hatch chicken
Yeah. The Nutella.
Mm-mm.
pockets.
It's more like
They're
peanut
really
butter,
good.
not chocolate.
Oh, and those meat pies that I left at home are at his house.
There's definitely some kind of weird woody butter going on with this
I
wine.
think it pairs well with salty things.
Okay, what is it?
Yeah, and especially comparatively to the last one, and that's because because this one is much drier. It has a lot more of that acid to it, and well, as we've kind of noted before, high acid goes really well with salty stuff.
Salty.
Yeah, I think that that's
They have
key.
it. They rated the 2016, but not.
Are you looking on a wine app?
We were just curious what it was rated, and we can't find the 2019 anywhere that's notable. So I was just curious.
Oh, yeah, I checked all these out on Vivino,
No.
and
Item not found.
no, I mean pretty much these are like as average gets. Like every single one of them scored almost exactly a 3.0.
Out of 5.
Oh, well,
They're
yeah.
gonna say
And again, you're talking about price, right?
It was very good with the game hand. I'm having a game hand right now.
It
Yeah.
says among the
Some really good white meat.
the wines.
I could see that.
Helpful.
From. So this is the best one.
Butterscotch?
I don't know, Corey, how was the did you go with the vinaigrette?
I did a balsamic vinaigrette on spinach. It's pretty good.
Okay.
I'm not a fan of the Chard, to be 100% honest, though.
Yeah, well, this Chardonnay, I'm I don't know, maybe there's one person out there that has had COVID and still hasn't gotten their taste buds back, but I'm going with there aren't very many people in here that are that this is going to be a go-to Chardonnay for them in the future.
So, yeah, so Katie, they had Katie's birthday party here, and somebody brought a tray of sushi. And it was really good.
Oh, that was almost a chore to take down.
The yakisoba noodles, it's like the
Where
same
is?
Triple Eight Market,
Really?
the same brand that we would buy.
Right.
Um,
How's everyone's glasses? Are we ready for the cab?
Yes,
All
Yeah.
right.
for sure.
Triple Eight Market is
All right. Well, let's go ahead and pour the cab.
The 69 South.
Yeah.
Oh,
Do a salad.
Wait, no, 119. That's a different. That's a different version for sure.
Lister Blake.
It's like 69.
yeah.
The Cabernet.
Yeah, maybe so. Yeah.
All right.
But
I'll give this thing a little bit of a look. And this is definitely lighter than I would be expecting for a cab. So I mean, this is kind of the theme of the night is these are all going to be kind of watery grapes.
Yes, and almost kind of brown. Is that just me?
I'm getting ruby.
Yeah. I was going to say this is right between red and ruby. But definitely just clear all the way through. All right. So give this thing a little of a swirl. We'll see how the legs work on this. Wow. Also really, really thin.
Yeah.
mhm.
Are we just going to be at like 12.5 for everything? Because
Yes.
really?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, fine.
Okay.
Oh, they're consistent.
Yeah. They are
I enjoy that.
strangely consistent, but the fact that their whites are as alcoholic as their reds is a little weird and concerning.
Yeah. Very watery grapes.
All right. Well, let's give this thing a swirl and a sniff.
Oh, probably.
Well, they just must
It's not a fruit wine.
Now, what I was also going to say about this is that I'm actually feeling better about their practices.
Yes.
Only because, I mean, for the cost, if this was like really super dark, hold on, I'm gonna. If it was really super dark, I would already be yelling mega purple. For those of you that don't know what mega purple is, it's this like boiled down grape syrup that some of the places will use to accentuate a wine, like to make it like really dark, really heavy. And it doesn't really need all that much in order to be able to influence a wine, but it also has a very distinct smell to it that we would have been able to pick up. And I keep hoping. Actually, I'll find a bottle of wine, that we can all try, that has mega purple in it, because it smells like a gym mat, like a one of those, like it has this weird like fakey foam, like just funky smell to it that is unless you smell like an old PE wrestling mat.
Hey, Richard, I have a question for you in regards to the big purple or grape or whatever. Is that primarily like American wines, or
Yeah.
do you get that?
Yeah, you don't see that much in any other place other than American, right around the $10 to $20 range. I mean, some places will actually use it other than that, if they have like subpar grapes that year and are looking for that, oh crap, we are known for our big inky reds. We need to make this wine an inky red, especially as you like if there was like a heavy rainy season, like right before harvest, and they ended up with a bunch of watery grapes. Expect a lot more mega purple to happen, just in order to again make it so that your brand kind of stays the same.
That's very interesting. Thanks for sharing that, because that's something that we were wondering about. And then also, do you think that lends itself more to like Americans trying to like reinvent wine a little bit too, or no?
Well, I mean, that's all about trends. I mean, because back in the 2000s, the big thing was like a big oak bomb. heavy amounts of like hard, like chocolate and vanilla. That
Are you ready?
like it didn't matter, it just had to be red wine with just heavy amounts of oak. And then all of a sudden, like the Psalms got into the, they started, raising their nose at it and said,
It's the thing where it's like
all this oak is
dirt or mold or whatever.
is essentially covering up flaws. And so people are like, that's not really I don't want to drink flawed wine. And so all of a sudden the oak started to go down, but then all of a sudden everyone's taste started to go towards really dark, heavy wines. And so everyone started, that's still kind of been a lot of the trend right now is, those big, dark, inky reds.
So we're looking at tannins rather than color, maybe?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the color is part and parcel with a lot of the tannins.
Yeah, that's true. Okay.
So what's everyone smelling on this one? Oh.
Mold.
Mold.
Oh, it smells like moldy fruit. Like you had some strawberries sitting in the fridge for a little too long and you open them up. No, it's not okay.
It's pairing well with the chocolate cake with the raspberry on top.
I don't even know if I can put this in my mouth.
Anyone else getting something other than mold?
So we think there's like notes of maybe peat and oak.
What?
I'm getting like
You're making shit up.
They put the mold in there to make it earthy.
That's just you. Go ahead and yourselves. Right.
so I'm getting like really fruity notes from this. I have no idea why though.
Yeah, like
Something berry, but I can't tell what kind of berry.
yeah. That's what I was about. That's what I was just about to say. Was that to me? This smells like a berry tart. Like they're all just jumbled in there. You throw in some blackberries, some raspberries, some blueberries, and all you're getting is just okay. It's a berry, but you can't really make a distinction.
I don't know. It tastes, to me, it has more of a strawberry smell, especially when one of the other participants had mentioned strawberry. Maybe that's part of why, but it does definitely, I agree with Corey, has a very fruity aroma to it. I don't smell anything earthy or moldy at all in ours.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like mature berries. It seems like
Unripened, maybe.
berries.
Yeah.
Not completely ripe because there is a sour note.
I don't know. To me, like I said, I smell berry tart, which which is the fruit part, but then also like I'm pretty sure this was like pretty heavily oaked because all like that kind of pastry end of it is usually from the vanilla. That is just, especially if there's a lot of it.
Is there any way, I mean, when we taste or smell aromas like berries, I know that sometimes it's because there's an influence, like there's another crop close by. Do we know if there's anything like being co-agricultured with this maybe?
Out there, I highly doubt it. I think, like I said, I think they had like 35,000 acres out in Ceres, and that's all they probably have around there is just grapes, just loads and loads of grapes. Compared to like some Australian wines, especially from was like Kookaburra or now I can't, the name escapes me, from like Molly Duker, is that you'll actually be able to taste a little bit of like eucalyptus in those Shirazes, just because they grow right alongside eucalyptus trees, and so I'll have that, a little bit of that menthol.
You're gonna have to find us some tastings for that. That would be really interesting.
I'd like to taste that one.
Yeah.
Just
You missed that on the Australian
Oh.
tasting and the Molly Duker was fantastic.
All right, well, we'll have to do it on our own.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's give this thing a taste. So, cheers.
I'd call that Jesus juice. It's very bland.
That yeah, that's definitely got some weird oak to it. And yeah, it kind of tasting like Manischewitz is
I prefer Manischewitz.
well, because I don't think they oak Manischewitz.
Maybe that's why I prefer it.
Yeah. Wow. I also think that everyone, you know, that's been on most of these tastings has also been quite spoiled up till now. But you know, we had to do a meme tasting. Well, actually, we're doing 2 meme tastings, aren't we? Because we're doing Hello Kitty in 2 weeks.
That's going to be awesome. Don't knock it.
Thank you, right?
Are the Hello Kitty wines easy to find?
Online.
Or is it something
yeah.
Order them online. Yeah.
Hello Kitty, 2 of them.
Yeah,
have
I think you might be able, if you are near like, you know, a Hello Kitty store, maybe you can find a couple of them. But
Cost
otherwise,
Plus World Market supposedly carries them.
We're out here.
yeah, but otherwise just order online.
Can do you know? I don't know that that's okay for New Jersey.
Let me check. I think they were on the list.
From New Jersey.
Oh no.
From New Jersey. So
We
I've
had
been-
problems for a bit, so I don't know if they've.
Like you've had too much delivered, so they won't.
Cutting you off.
Well, no.
New Jersey's on the list of where they say they ship. So hopefully it will work. And the
Yeah.
20% off coupon is supposedly good through Valentine's Day. So order soon.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, I think they get. I don't know. When I ordered mine, I got it in like 4 days. It was like
Yeah,
it
it
was,
came here in like 3 days.
it was crazy fast.
They came 2 days earlier than they said it would.
But
When you bought the Hello Kitty wine, did you get the it's like the package
full
deal?
collection?
I think there's like 5 or 6 in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, that's the one that I suggested was the full collection. So we'll actually be trying some sake.
Oh,
I'm excited.
I'm gonna have to try this out.
But
There really is
but
a
back
lot
to
of-
back to this one.
Yeah, just
Do it.
You're like, just go for yourself.
I don't know.
Cabernet, a bad name.
I'm gonna keep trying. There's a,
I think.
I think there's a sweet spot. in this
How
one.
dare it call itself Cabernet?
It's not great, then it's okay, and then it goes bad.
Like I could see this in a sangria.
yeah. I'm planning to make
A lot
sangria.
of rum poured into it.
And fruit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I use brandy myself, but yeah, along those same lines. But oof, yeah, by itself, this is. Well, again, we're drinking $3 wine.
In the
Yeah,
wine
it looks
trap.
really good in the sink.
Well, considering that this tasting was supposed to be bum wines, and we were
And
talking.
you succeeded.
well,
Also, I am not on board for cheap ass wine.
well, I until I started doing the research for Franzia, and then which went back to Ernest and Julio Gallo, I didn't realize that E&J Gallo made Thunderbird.
No way. Oh
Yeah, they're the ones that made Thunderbird.
I never knew that. Thunderbird. Oh my.
That's like from the 70s, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it was one of like 5 or 6. I would, like I said, this particular tasting was going to be what used to be classified as bum wine, which was like kind of higher octane, super sweet, wines
That's
that were like
2020.
where they're like, yeah, so it's gonna be like Mad Dog, Thunderbird, Irish, Wild Irish Rose,
Boons.
Cisco, and Boons.
No night train? I'm hurt.
Oh, and Night Train, yeah.
We used to drink 2-buck chuck in my shore house,
Ah.
and COVID has made me really miss them. So that's kind of why, like tonight, I've appeared of like, pouring out some.
This has some nostalgia for you.
It really does. It really does. And then at the so like Friday you'd have your best stuff, and then Saturday you'd have your second best stuff, and then Sunday was Sunday Fun Day, and it was just drinking all the stuff that was open. And surprise, always 2-buck chuck left. So you're making all kinds of stuff because they called me the chemist because I could get everybody drunk happily on a Sunday.
They're not as cultured as we are.
Move on to the next one, please.
But one thing is I think that the blue cheese makes the wine taste better.
Well, just food in general is making any of these wines tasting better.
No, actually, there was no hope at all for the Sauv Blanc.
Really?
Yeah, bad.
Like I said, for me, the goat cheese was going pretty well. I think they found that their flourless chocolate cake was doing okay.
Okay. I have just plain goat cheese, and it for some reason wasn't working for me. But whatever.
So we have like a garlic, salt, pepper Angus burger that's going pretty well with the Sauvignon Blanc, not the Cab Sauv.
Get some pepper, get some depth.
I think it's the amount of salt though, to be 100%.
Like another thing from Trader Joe's is and it's kind of like my go-to for red wines is their stout and steak pies.
No, like the Costco shit, like there's some
Nice.
And those things are fantastic for red wine because
The
they've got enough fat and savory to them that they kind of just pair well with all of them.
But then
I have a
Spicy guacamole is going well with this.
No.
Comparatively to the how did they go with the whites, or did you try them with the whites?
It did not go so well with the whites, but it's going well with this Cab Sauv. It's the only thing on my plate going well with it.
Spicy and salty.
pot stickers are pretty good with this too.
Mm.
They're a little salty.
Now, are they pork or chicken?
Chicken. But I think the sauce more. Like this is the first wine of the three that I've poured more of because I want it with my pot sticker.
So I'm going to guess that it's probably interacting more with that kind of like soy mirin.
Yes. It improves it.
Some Chinese food.
All right. Did you guys already start pouring your Shiraz over there on Team Foodie? Because I was like, you guys have a very full glass there for. All right, so I'll finish mine up. It looks like everybody else is about ready too.
We did.
You don't have to, by the way.
No.
I mean, yeah. Usually, I would probably have a dump bucket, especially when I'm out tasting at wineries. If I don't like a wine, I'm chucking it. I do not gracefully swallow swill.
Nope. Except on $2 chocolate.
It's the hope that if you drink enough, the last wine will be even better.
Amen.
Yeah. But isn't that kind of like Malort?
No, Malort is never good.
I don't know. I thought
Unless you're Laura.
I thought that was like the thing, and if you ordered it from a bar in Chicago, that you got 3 shots because the first 2 didn't count.
Is that a Pinot Noir?
That's a Shiraz.
Because by the third, you actually kind of enjoyed it. All right, so we are on to our 2016 Shiraz. It's when I saw Shiraz, first off, I was kind of weirded out because usually
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
everywhere but Australia, it's Syrah. The fact that they use, the Australian name for the Syrah grape in California, kind of tweaked me a little bit.
I thought that was weird as well.
So as we look at this,
Just that first.
It looks a little heavier than I expected it to be, but what do you think?
no, I mean, this is a Syrah grape, like super heavyweight. This thing should be like obscuring light.
Okay.
And
Go back.
like if you told me this was a Syrah grape, I would be wondering if maybe it came from France because of how light it is. But even theirs would still be a lot more purple. I mean, this is kind of like on the ruby / garnet range.
Yeah, dark red, definitely.
Yeah.
You should be expecting with like a Syrah that it's going to be in more almost the purple range.
Okay.
And also, just like I said, you should be able to even see through it.
I really don't drink them very often, so.
No, that's fine. I mean, that's what everyone's here for, is just to kind of learn a little bit. But no, I mean, this is again telling me that their irrigation practices out at these wineries or out at these vineyards is definitely on the heavier side, just trying to mass produce as much grapes as possible to just churn out cheap wine grapes.
Yeah.
So we'll give this thing a bit of a swirl now. And that's the thing with especially with a super heavyweight. So along with, as you're looking at like the tiers or the legs as it's coming down, is you'd be looking for like discoloration. Like if it was actually had like a little bit of like a pinkish / purple tinge to those legs, that could tell you if it was a grown in a hot climate, or and was like like really tannicky. This though, I mean, it's got a slight tinge to them, but comparatively to what you would expect from a Syrah, I'm not seeing many of the qualities. In fact, these are also really thin legs. I really did they just balance the ABV across like all of them? Yeah, apparently they did. Apparently all Charles Shaw wines are 12.5 ABV.
I wonder if they do that because they don't want to run on certain ones, because people that drink this would go for the one with the highest alcohol regardless of what it is.
Yes.
Well, that's one possibility. The other is that's the cap for some states for what can be shipped in.
Okay.
I mean, that's the less fun answer, but okay.
I know. I mean, I hate state legislation on stopping.
But that might be true to be able to get this into Utah or something.
Yeah.
I'm looking for some advice. I was swirling a little too vigorously, and I'm just wondering, does anybody have any tips on getting red wine out of clothing?
Yep. What fabric?
OxyClean.
Really, I don't have any of that. I don't think.
Get it, and it gets it out of carpet too.
What kind of fabric?
So I've been told.
It's
Type A over here. Minus.
Poly.
Wash immediately also.
What?
Wash immediately.
What kind of fabric is your clothing?
It's a poly cotton blend.
OxyClean.
Yeah, red wine.
If you
Yeah.
have
OxyClean.
if you
How
white wine and put it on your red wine, it'll help a lot. I'm not joking.
hydrogen peroxide? No.
White wine.
Not organic.
Chardonnay.
Oh, that's it. Yeah, I
No,
have it
whatever.
here. That's a good idea. I will give that a try. I'll go soak it. Pardon me.
No, you
I
say
mean, me, I usually, I actually have some stuff just that's called, you know, like
Wine
red
away.
wine remover.
So you got it online, red wine.
Yeah, I get it from Amazon, and it's
oh, this is not okay.
I will,
it works really well for both clothes and carpet.
Not good.
Which one is? Was.
But this, I feel like this compared to that cat is like way better.
I've also just read that you could apply kitty litter
I don't think it tastes like a Shiraz. I think it tastes
Say
like
kitty litter?
to suck the moisture out. I guess.
it's like
I'll post into chat the stuff that I use. It's called Wine Away, red wine.
As soon as I have, you said I have something to get wine out specifically, like wine away.
Yep.
wine,
My
wine,
first rodeo.
God, do you have any like a
That stuff's always worked for me.
Oh, so good.
Like a lamb. Yeah.
All right. So well, we went through our site and we kind of got distracted. So let's give this thing a bit of a swirl and let's smell it.
Oh yeah, we haven't. Yeah, we.
This one might be good.
Right. You know,
See, now, thing is like a Syrah, you'd be expecting like plum, blackberry jam, and a bit of pepper.
no pepper.
But the question is that what you're getting from this?
I get a little bit of like currant jam.
0.8.
Okay.
Hotter than anything else.
Does anyone smell popcorn?
Not
You
on
might
this
be
one.
having a stroke.
Maybe. That's what I'm
No,
getting.
that's
Like hints of
toast, that's
popcorn.
toast.
I mean, I'm definitely getting that kind of vanilla
2.9.
smell to this one as well, but
No, my schnoz.
not sure if I'm getting popcorn.
I can
Might be
understand
having a
that.
stroke.
Like synthetic butter.
Does this have a higher rating than that?
Oleo.
yes, exactly.
3.1. Still not good.
Definitely getting.
Are they breathalyzing?
I think they're looking at wine ratings.
Oh.
Mm.
3.1 could go either way.
Yeah,
This It's like
again, well, I mean, I smell the plum
no.
and like a little bit of like cedary oak, but I'm not getting the blackberry. I'm not getting the pepper.
Is that from?
I mean, but that the smell that I'm getting off of this is that kind of weird synthetic that I would be expecting from Mega Purple. But
Yeah.
but this thing is not dark enough for me to
I
really
think
say
it's just differently synthetic. Because
Yeah.
like all of them have tasted a little bit.
chemically.
Like it kind of tastes like almost like grape Dimetapp.
It's a 4.1.
Like those lollipops that my mother's like, you're sick, have a cough drop lollipop.
because of the setup of the night.
I want to say that on Vivino, someone actually compared this one to grape Tylenol.
Oh. Yeah.
I think we're done with Charles Shaw, and we're gonna open this one next.
Enjoy.
Oh, we will.
So, I don't know. The more I smell it, I'm actually getting a little bit almost like violet or jasmine to it. Some kind of purple flower.
I thought you said the more I smell it, the more I'm getting violent. I'm like,
No. I mean, yeah, this does kind of make me a little bit angry, but no, I am definitely a giddily happy drunk.
We could make a.
Can definitely smell the vanilla, as you mentioned, and then it has, I don't know if we've gone to tasting yet, but it's a very upfront flavor. There's no finish to it. There's obviously no depth like a Syrah normally has, so it's very disappointing.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Yeah, at this point we should probably give this thing a taste. So last taste of the night. So
Going in the spaghetti sauce.
Cheers.
Oh, just some pears with it.
Oh, that would be good.
That would be good. A reduction. A red wine reduction on pears, yes. That's a good idea.
So I mean, like the first thing I noticed is this has like it's not very grippy.
No.
So there's not a lot of tannin to it, and especially for a Syrah, I mean this is medium bodied at best.
Yeah, that's being polite.
Do you think that they're trying to create the least objectionable cheap wine? Is that what they're after here?
Absolutely, I think so.
Probably. I mean, they're trying to, appeal to, again, people without much money and say, okay, well, here's what wine tastes like.
I don't think it's money. I think it's knowledge and taste buds.
We're muted, right?
No.
Oh.
So that was my thought, is what they're doing is they're taking a wine and they're making it sugary and tastes like a Happy Meal.
Mm.
Yeah,
Like
but other than the
McDonald's wine.
Sauvignon Blanc, like none of these have had any residual sugar to them.
But like I get it. Because it's like wine meets fast food in a way.
Yeah. And I mean, hey, if they're already, shopping for, all their vegan and organic stuff, might as well go pick up some, Charles Shaw wine for, to impress their vegan girlfriend.
Well, now they make Shaw organic.
Oh, that too.
We saw that, yeah.
We saw that today.
Yeah.
Because that's where I was looking for this, even though there was a humongous display and I just walked right past it. And I'm like, these labels don't look like those labels, but they say Shaw on them.
Yeah. I saw those and I was like, oh, Shaw. But it was like neat. It was like some kind of neon color with Shaw down the side of it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, part 2 testing,
Yeah.
organic wines.
Yeah.
What's everyone getting off of this one for flavor?
This is the first one where I could probably identify what type of wine they were trying to go for.
Really?
The other 3, I was like, really? This is that? This one, I can tell they were trying to go for a Shiraz or a Syrah, but it's
Yeah. And I mean, it's the spirit is there, but
Yeah,
I agree.
did they accomplish it? Not as much.
No, it
But
tasted-
I like it as a springboard, so that if this is all people have consumed up to this point, and then you give them a $15 bottle of petite or like an earthquake cab, and it's going to like rock their socks.
Mhm.
no.
Because I mean, to them, you just, again, you're spending as much for 6 bottles of what they've been drinking for one. It's like, hey, we'll make them special.
I think you make a good point, Richard. My husband does not drink wine, and these I sheepishly say that he would probably enjoy, because they're not leaning one way or another. But he would feel like he could taste something unique in each one. And he would probably feel like pairing it with foods too, he might pick up different hints of things. So I don't know, maybe these are like training wheels.
Yeah. That's kind of exactly what it is, because I mean, some people, there's a lot of people that they get turned off by either really acidic wines or really tannic wines, and so these are kind of like middle of the road for people, and it gives them it's my first wine book.
I think that's also a good point too, because when you're hosting, an event or a party or something at your house, possibly keeping in mind that people don't have those discerning tastes, or they're new to it, or they don't like wine necessarily, or they don't know they like it. And being able to provide something that's kind of mellow and watered down a little bit maybe is something that's helpful.
right.
And then they go into.
But then you have to make sure that you ramp people up slowly because my
Right.
mom's a big Franzia person,
You
wine in a
right.
box person. And I brought a bottle of, not expensive, but like I brought like a bottle of like $15 French wine to her house
Mhm.
for one Thanksgiving. And she put peach sparkling water in it and made a spritzer out of it because she's like, it's not watery enough.
Oh my
Wow.
goodness.
And, you know, listen, enjoy it the way you enjoy it. If I brought like an expensive bottle of wine, I'd have been mad, but I'm like, whatever. But like my dad was like, how rude are you? Like, are you serious? And then they had like a little kerfuffle over it. And so.
That's interesting.
Well, on that note, I'm going to go ahead and end the recording. So everyone wave goodbye to YouTube, and then we'll continue
my
on
mom
with the
didn't
fun
watch that.
without them.